Hey everybody, I'm Tim and welcome to Cigars Daily Live, coming to you from sunny Phoenix, Arizona, with a gangbusters episode as the cigar world reshapes and reforms into something brand new. This is a thing to know about the industry. It is always changing and it's kind of always the same. We've done the same thing for like 600 years in this industry. All of us, we roll round brown, and that's the goal, and to do it better and better and better every year. And you can't do that for 600 years with the same cigar maker. That guy would be 600 years old, and I think his fingers would get tired. And so we are literally in the process as an industry of watching a new generation rise up to meet the challenge, not only of rolling cigars with skilled and quality construction, but to pioneer brand new flavor profiles, to invent new varietals of seeds and leaf that will take us into the next phase of what cigars have to offer. It's amazing how, as new cigars come out every year, there's this incredible diverse range of flavor that we can try all kinds of different stuff. And indeed, tonight, that is part of the topic of the discussion, because we are diving in together to the legacy of Nick Perdomo and the future of cigars. Now, this is the big hullabaloo. Just in the last couple of weeks, you have seen the Perdomo legacy come out. Perdomo, depending on what part of the country you're from.
Very true.
I'm pretty sure that Nick has heard it more ways than one. And we're going to be talking, by the way, with him tonight. But this is the, ooh, can you see the little loops on the top? Or I didn't like quite cut it out. Look at that. That's a bad Photoshop job
right
right there.
Archways right there. Okay.
All right. Well, it's like a mutated McDonald's thing. So we're going to be talking about the Perdomo legacy tonight. But of course, more than that and more than anything, we're going to be taking your comments and questions. My name is Tim. I'm the host of this show, but all of you watching at home, you are the co-host, and it's your comments and questions that will drive this episode, and you will get to ask them directly to Nicholas Perdomo III. He's going to be on with us in just a few minutes. He's sitting in the green room right now waiting, but I can't run this thing all by my lonesome. I got the best damn team in the world. And by the way, a little bit of a fresh upgrade. Sitting behind the camera is Billy, the cock of the wall.
You know, in the field now, I feel like my hat is at home.
Feel like you're at home?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, get it. Come on, Billy, get it.
Yeah, get in there. Yes, sir. Yeah.
I want this to haunt your children's lives forever. All right, and sitting next to him is El Rey Del Terrio.
I feel beautiful out here, man. The sun's beaming. It's all making my melatonin pop out. Like I'm doing fantastic. I feel fantabulous tonight. How's everybody doing?
Look fantabulous tonight. And of course, joining us tonight is the Cigars Daily Live studio audience. We're glad to have them with us. And of course, sitting third chair is Ryan, defender of the flat earth, who's probably locking a door or turning off a light somewhere.
Yeah, he'll be here.
I was so close to saying why you weren't here. There you go. Here he is. He's sitting down.
No more video making with Brittany.
You look. Did you notice? Did you hear about that last week? That
I may have
the
heard
camera
about
guy for her new kitchen knife music video.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, we're gonna bring Nicholas Perdomo III on the show, and we're gonna talk about the legacy, the Perdomo legacy, a brand new line, which, by the way, Nicholas has got some answering to do to all of us. And part of the reason for that is that, if you know Perdomo Cigars, there's a method to this. Nick Perdomo's got like one of the longest standing like procedural cigar releases. Somehow it's art and somehow it's also incredibly pragmatic. Every Perdomo cigar from the beginning of time has come out in a Connecticut shade, a sun-grown wrapper, and a Madura. And this one breaks that mold. We've broken it. I know.
Change.
It
Boo.
feels like we've gone outside. That, and with this one, and I'll take my bands back again if I can.
Yes.
There is with the black, the Connecticut, an Ecuador Connecticut shade wrapper. Of course, with the blue on this side, a Madera wrapper, but in the middle, a shade-grown wrapper, which sounds like a Connecticut, but is somehow not. And so we're going to talk with Nicholas Perdomo III about that, but drop your cigar comments and questions down below. I want to get to them right away. We're going to hit the pick of the week, and then we're going to bring Nicholas on. Billy, what do we got?
What are the comments saying?
Yeah, you know, a lot of the comments are already for Nick, so I have to find.
Wow, guys, we do this show every week for you. All right, well, I get it.
We can. Let's mess with this one.
Just want to
for a
make
little
some
bit.
stuff up.
Yeah. Here.
Marcus says, "Do I have to post a picture of the tattoo for a chance to win?"
Yeah, like
That
6 weeks ago.
contest was like a month and a half ago. That contest was so long ago that I actually already got around to having the jackets made. Just so you guys know, it takes me like the way that I do things at the Cigars Daily HQ. Is
Oh,
we
please
have an
tell them.
idea.
Please tell them.
We have an idea, and we talk about the idea. We agree to do it, and then like 6 months later, I do it. I.e., the backdrop for Billy and Terrence was an idea that we had a long time ago. And I went in today to pick it up from the print shop, and they're like, "We wondered if you were ever going to come pay for this." And I was like, well,
Wait,
here I am.
Is it been made for how
It's just
long?
been sitting there.
It's been a few weeks. It's been a few weeks since they made it. All right, here we go. Give me
Probably
one more
get an hour
comment, and then I want to
destroying it.
take some pick of the weeks, and then we'll bring on Nicholas since he's the guest of the hour. People clearly want to talk to him. The wrench is here, by the way. All right. Corey B says, "Turn on the lights, Bill, and throat goat are dark. They're
That's how
real
Terrence comes.
dark."
I think it's nice lighting.
I feel like it's a little bit more dramatic.
Dude,
Yeah,
you guys
feel
are
like
in you guys are in like a Spanish soap opera over there, and I'm in a YouTube studio. That's what it feels like. And Ryan is in the basement.
He's on an episode of General Hospital.
He's in the basement of the neighbor's house that you're like, I don't know. He always seemed like such a nice guy.
Give me the lotion already.
All right. Your wife watches this show. All right. By the way, I just want to just say that tonight your blue shirt makes your skin look really red
Yeah.
on camera.
You
You look like the Red Hulk from
Yeah, no, I see it.
Yeah, I see it now. Okay. Well, we're going to give plenty of questions to Ryan tonight. Don't worry about that. I want to dive into a segment we do every week on this show called the Cigars Daily Nation Pick of the Week. Now, this week, being that Nicholas Perdomo is on, he's going to be joining us in a second. I wanted to show off what people were talking about in the Cigars Daily Nation Facebook group. And I have to tell you, almost all of it is legacy. Like I was trying to pick picks of the week, and I was going through, and there's so much legacy getting posted online right now. Maybe it's the fact that the cigars are actually pretty sexy, and maybe it's, I don't know, the quality of the cigar. Could be anything. But let's take you inside of these. The first one comes from Adam P. Adam says, Perdomo did a great job with this one, as they do with all of their cigars. The shade grown and Maduro will rest in my humidor until the move to Arizona. And here he is sitting with a small cup of what looks like espresso, a drink he will not drink when he moves to Arizona. He'll pretty much drink ice water, and that's all probably it. Then he's got what the Legacy Connecticut Shade, which is the choice one to pair probably with an espresso. Fantastic, Adam. Thank you for sharing. Next, we got from Aaron R. Aaron says, celebrating 6 years of marriage with this firecracker today. And she picked this stick out of the humidor. I must say, it was a great choice. Fantastic job, not only letting your wife select her cigar, but referring to her as a firecracker, which is not something that I think we've done for 70 years in this country. you're bringing it back, and I respect that.
I thought that was a rude thing to say, but all right.
Good job there, you little firecracker. What are you doing in the backyard? You're supposed to be in the house. Okay, sorry.
All right, next picture.
I'm just
next picture.
Trying to be culturally relevant. Stephen R is on. He says, I have to have the new Perdomo legacy on the Great Wall. I like my cigars in Robusto, and my wall's great. Now, the Great Wall he's referring to is the one in China.
the one you can see from space.
Yeah, the original wall, the original tall wall, the first tall wall. And he's there, dude. Stephen R. I wanted Nicholas to see this because I know Nicholas is watching the green room. Perdomo Factory Tour t-shirt, Perdomo Legacy, smoking on the Great Wall of China, where, by the way, he almost definitely went to jail after taking this picture.
Did we check in on him? Is
I
he
didn't.
in jail?
I mean, he posted the picture, so I
his
have
last
to assume
post?
that was his final post from a Chinese jail. Can I use your
smoke 'em
Wi-Fi?
What's the Wi-Fi password?
I'm trying to tag Nicholas Perdomo in this picture, and I can't quite do it. Okay, there we go.
Gosh.
There it is. That's what's happening today in the world of cigars. I got myself personally, and we're going to go around and talk about what we got around the studio real quick. I got the Perdomo Madera because it's the only one I haven't had yet. I've gone through Connecticut Shade. I had this morning. I've had like 4 or 5 of the shade grown blends. And I want to hear about that from Nicholas. But around the studio, tell me, guys, what have you got?
Ryan, let's start off with you, brother man.
I've got
Ryan,
I went
angry.
with the sun grown because
It's called the shade grown.
the shade
and
grown.
this is part of my
Sorry.
gripe with this
Sorry.
whole thing.
I'm confused.
No.
I'll get it.
Everyone's going to call it the sun grown. And I'm gonna complain about this to Nick. I'm not complain to
Anyways,
you.
I'm
Red
going
Hulk,
with the sun,
continue.
sun shade grown. Hey, you can't have shade with no sun. So, anyways, that's the one I'm having because I haven't tried it yet.
Okay.
And so far, so good.
Billy, what you got, my man?
I've got the Maduro as well.
Okay.
I'm going to be very particular with what tasting notes. I
Yeah,
put out.
what flavor notes are you getting, Billy?
Go back to Tim real fast.
Uh-huh.
Billy is trying to come up with a tasting note that's not also a cuss word or something inappropriate or something that'll make him turn as red as Ryan looks.
Okay.
So without smoking it, the tasting notes that I'm getting is very smooth, very little pepper in it. Not offensive, but it's got a more complex, and I can't quite put it on. I want to say, Darren, stop. I'm trying my hardest. Darren.
What is that? What is those flavor notes smeared on, by the way?
I don't know. Terrence, can I phone a friend? Terrence?
Oh my
Hello?
gosh. Phone a
So,
friend.
I got I personally, I think the Maduro is the mildest of the 3. I know that's a crazy thing to say. It's like Maduro and Connecticut are tied right now for me. And it is primarily going to be chocolate based. And then I also got a little bit of like a weird mahogany, like teak wood kind of thing, where it's like a wood, but different.
There's a wood. I would agree with that. That's
Dude,
why I
your
can't.
Terrence's flavor notes always make me just like, what the hell? Teak wood?
But then you
What does he
try
go
it and
around
you're like,
tasting,
huh.
right?
No, I don't. I still don't.
No. When we had there was a, oh gosh, what was it? It was the farm rolls. We both had the Habano. I
Right.
said something. I said it was like salty. And you're like, that's what that was.
The Jay Bouchard says Ryan looks like he was sun grown.
Yes.
Ryan
That
looks
was-
like
that
a
was
walking advertisement for like.
It probably
suntan
doesn't help. There
suntan.
is a red light over here kind of shining up this way. I bet you we
It's
turn
your
it off.
blue shirt, dude.
Look,
it's the
look.
same red light
Look
we
at- look
use
at-
every single
Right,
week.
but look, like it matters.
Yeah.
If I
Were
turn
you
it off.
holding puppies in the sun again this weekend while you're swimming?
No, not this weekend.
Ryan looks like he's like, I'm not gonna breathe until all these wars are over.
I'm so angry.
All right, listen, here's what we're going to do. I want to bring on our guest for tonight so you guys can ask your questions and comments directly to him. The brand new Perdomo Legacy has landed in the world. It's out there in the wild. And this is the guy who put it together. I'm going to grill him. And of course, your comments and questions are the most critical thing. So we're going to take those. And by the way, this show is going to continue. You can learn more about everything we're doing when you watch the after party, which is going to be the second part of the show that only happens on Rumble and on our community on Cigars Daily Plus. You're going to be able to watch the unabridged version of this show on Cigars Daily Plus, where it's free and easy to sign up. Yes.
They're saying there's some issues with the plus.
Yeah, that doesn't
Okay.
surprise me.
Just to let you know.
Okay. Well, we'll see. It might only be on Rumble if Plus is giving us an issue tonight. It didn't give me it didn't pop up with like we
It
got.
didn't pop up with an issue for me either.
All right, welcome Nicholas Perdomo III.
Man, what a rough
up,
crowd
bro?
you guys are. My goodness.
Dude,
Holy
wonderful,
cow.
wonderful people.
Hey, how are you guys, man? Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Dude, this is a blast. Thank you for coming back. We had so much fun the last time you were on the show. We've been talking about it ever since. And now your legacy, well, not your legacy. This is your dad's legacy. I'm not really sure. It's called legacy. It's out there in the world. This is, if I'm not, I doubt it's the first cigar you've been involved in blending, but this is sort of your tribute to your dad. So give us the open the box. Tell us what's inside. What is legacy?
Well, I mean, listen, it's it's the first cigar that I truly blended myself, and I took complete ownership. I've been a part of different tasting panels, Perdomo 30th anniversary, even when we reblended Perdomo 10th anniversary, Maduro and Sungrown. So I've been familiar for years in terms of how to blend, but this was really my first true project. I mean, this was a project from son to father. People will ask me why did you do this project, and it's pretty simple. It's because I love my dad, and it's something that I felt has always been my obligation and my duty as his fourth generation of Perdomo Cigars, especially my dad, who is the founder of Perdomo Cigars in the United States here, and it's my job, and so it was something that it was a desire, passion within me. I did everything I possibly could to make and produce the best cigar possible as my first project, but really is the first cigar that we've ever made in honor of my dad. So that's really it's a brand with all heart. That's really how I describe it.
Okay, I want to take comments from everybody who's watching, but first I need to grill you about this shade grown situation.
Sure. I got a surprise for you. Can I present the surprise to you real quick?
Yes.
I got somebody here who loves you and you love. Get over here.
Excellent.
I got my brother from another mother who's here tonight. I got the one.
Yes,
Ralph
dude.
Valdez.
Oh wow, it's Ralph.
Just so you guys know, what's up, Ralph? It's good to see you, dude.
Hey Tim, hi guys, how you doing? Pleasure to be on with you.
Ralph is the guy I work with on a weekly basis over at Perdomo, and one of my favorite people. Ralph is one of an exceedingly rare breed of people in the cigar industry that doesn't make my life harder.
Agreed.
And that is so good, dude. It's so good to see you, man. Glad to have you here.
Likewise, good to see you all.
This is my guy.
And Nick Perdomo is on. He says, Ralph, is your dad commenting on the show right now?
Yes, he is.
All right. And Michael Giannini's on. Another one. I got, my favorite people. Well, this is really great. I'm glad you're here. I want to ask you real quick, and we'll keep going on this. Ralph, if you want to ever chime in, you're welcome to.
Thank you.
Shade grown. You have broken a long-standing chain of Connecticut sun-grown Maduro blends in every line. And so twofold. Number one, are we going to eternally confuse everybody? I mean, the shade grown aspect, because it's a darker wrapper. It doesn't look like a Connecticut shade, but it is grown under the cheesecloth. And haven't you already had people massively confused? I've seen places online where this is listed as a sun-grown in like the blending information because people don't know. So take us inside of this and this new hybrid wrapper leaf that you used.
So I'm going to tell you. So one of the things is, and yeah, there's people, but we're educating, little by little, we're educating because it is a new wrapper variety. It's a varietal that we created. But I will tell you, we do not use Connecticut shade wrapper.
You do not use Connecticut shade. Now, do you mean that in the traditional sense that it is Connecticut shade wrapper comes from the United States, or explain that to us?
So we use Ecuador and Connecticut. So in Ecuador, over 300 days a year, there's cloud coverage, and so it acts as a natural shade barrier. Hence, Ecuadorian Connecticut wrappers doesn't use Connecticut shade. Anybody who tells you Ecuadorian Connecticut shade, they really don't know much because they don't use.
Because there's no shade.
There's no shade. So in the United States, in Connecticut, where there's more sun exposure, more UV rays, so to cut out the UV rays, they use shade. They use cheesecloth to cut it out. So the Connecticut that comes from USA Connecticut is Connecticut shade grown. So for me, to be honest with you, and I understand people identify the tobacco as Connecticut shade, but we use Ecuadorian Connecticut wrappers that's not shade grown. So for me, we use tobacco. So we created this Cuban seed, Cameroon seed hybrid. So basically we went through our geneticists. We did all the controlled pollination where we basically took the female plant, emasculated it for being able to reproduce. Then we took by hand with a brush, we took all the pollen from the male plant, put it over top of the female plant, allowed that plant to mature, basically forming seed capsules within the flower as it began to regrow. So that's how you create a hybrid seed. So what happened was we allowed the seeds to mature. And so basically we were able to create more capsules, more seed capsules, over thousands. It took about a little over a month. It takes a little bit over a month to mature the seeds. And so what happens is once we cross them, we put them in the canisters, we have our Cuban Cameroon seed. So the reason why I call it Nicaraguan shade grown is because the tobacco is grown in the country of Nicaragua, specifically Esteli, but it's grown under shade. Because it's grown in Esteli, I wanted to use the shade because the ground contents are so thick, the sun exposure is so heavy over there. So basically, we wanted to make the tobacco more elastic. We wanted to make it more pliable. And having that seed and growing it under shade, hence that's why I call it Nicaraguan shade grown, because literally shade grown tobacco grown in Nicaragua.
And the question, and I'm gonna jump into comments. So everybody watching, drop your cigar comments and questions. Billy is ravenously reading them. He's just been taken hooked on phonics, so he's got a lot of he's grown. And
terrible
we're
memory.
gonna get to your comments pretty much right away. But the first question that comes out for me is really just quite simply this: it's a shade grown wrapper. Why isn't it light colored like a Connecticut shade? How come it's so dark?
Because the ground contents, because the seeds that we crossed it with. You gotta remember, you got a Criollo 98, which is a Habano seed, Cuban seed. It's a hardy type of plant. It's got a nice dark reddish color, and then you got the Cameroon, which is a little bit more of a tooth-eater type of wrapper. And so when we cross those seeds, I truly believe the ground contents in Esteli is what, and the sun exposure is really what provides that richness. When we after we cure the tobacco's got this reddish, beautiful red color. When we cure it, then when we put it into the pilons, when you look at the difference between the Maduro that you're smoking there and you look at the Nicaraguan shade grown, they're just equally as dark. The difference is that you get the reddish hue that you in the actual Nicaraguan shade grown wrapper versus getting the dark chocolate hue that you get in the actual Maduro wrapper. So that's really when we ferment that tobacco, it darkens up, but it almost gets that old school. Like when I was a kid, my dad had Rosado wrappers. They were this red color, and you have that beautiful color, and so it's just gorgeous. The tobacco, it's thicker. When I compare it to sun-grown, we're known for sun-grown wrapped cigars, so we grow all our sun-grown Maduro wrappers in sun. They're all exposed with no shade. We grow in Jalapa because there's more cloud coverage and the grounds are a little bit more lighter, a little bit more mineral content, so it produces more elastic tobaccos. And so when you look at our sun-grown versus our Nicaraguan shade-grown, I would venture to say the shade-grown, of course, is a little bit darker. It's got more oils. It's got more resins in the actual wrapper. It's thicker. It's very pliable. It's truly incredible. And I think it's a compliment to sun-grown. And because I didn't want to come out with 4 wrappers, I really wanted to highlight this Nicaraguan shade-grown. This was a dream that my dad had, to grow the finest wrapper tobacco in the world, in the filler country, which is Esteli, Nicaragua. And I'm proud to say, Dad, you succeeded. I know you're watching. Your dream came true. And I'm glad that I was able to take this cigar and make it in honor of you. So that's the greatest gift for me. So
I'm a big fan. I'm going to have them throw the camera on Billy and Terrence so that Billy can read you a couple of comments here and give you the stuff. Everybody got lots of questions for you.
Let's do it.
Let's dive in.
We got a lot, so we're going to try and burn through these.
Some quick hits, if
Quick
we
hits.
could.
All right. This is from Kyle Whippert. Billy, save this question for Nicholas, please. What makes it so hard to grow primarily shade-grown wrapper in Nicaragua?
So, I mean, it's hard to grow wrapper in Nicaragua, in the country, well, specifically in Esteli, because, again, the ground contents being all volcanic, being very heavy, heavy grounds, heavy content. I mean, you can dig 20 feet down and it looks like topsoil. It's the most blessed, beautiful grounds, in my opinion, in the world. It grows everything bionic almost. And then you get that sun exposure, which is, you got to remember, we're a couple thousand feet in the air. So you're getting even more powerful sun. So remember, it takes a lot of man hour. Again, it's filler country. So my yields for Nicaraguan shade grown wrapper, for example, are much lower, and I really don't want to get into it because I don't want my dad to hear it, and then he starts going, oh my gosh, I don't want to talk about the yields, but the yields are lower because, again, growing wrapper tobacco in filler country, there's a big risk, and there's all these different things, and that's not what it's known for. But again, what we do produce, that's wrapper and even binder that we use and we impart in the Connecticut blends and even the Maduro blends, it's so special. It's just the most unique tobacco I've ever tasted. And again, my dad's brainchild is the genius of being able to cross Cuban seed with Cameroon seed and getting what we call our super seed in terms of definitely flavor. And now also too, it's extremely resistant to different molds, different viruses, black shank, all these different blue mold, everything. So this is something that my dad, he didn't just think about one day. This is something he put his heart and soul into this thing. And it's just a super seed in all regards, to flavor, to being resistant to bacteria and molds and viruses and things like that. So this is one of the greatest things. But yeah, it's very difficult to grow.
I got to say, Nicholas, you are as good at the quick hits as I am. And yeah, so Billy wants you to answer these quickly, but also you can do whatever you want. So he wants to jam through a few comments, but a lot of this stuff is pretty, like it's technical to explain. So take your time if you need to. Billy's got
I'd
another
like to answer like 5 questions in one too. So
yeah. Go for it, Billy.
This is from Grim. Do you have a set humidity for blending leaves, and do you expect the blends to change while they age?
Good question. So tobacco, we keep the relative humidity, we keep our humidity between 65 to 68%. And over time, our tobacco, because when we bale age the tobacco, which is I'm assuming that's what he's asking, the tobaccos begin to mellow. So tobaccos actually begin to marry more so in the bales and so forth. And then even prior, after we bale age tobacco. So for example, Perdomo Legacy is all 10-year bale age tobaccos after the tobacco went through fermentation. Then we put it through a second fermentation process, which is our bourbon barrel aging. So specifically just in the wrapper. So because of the texture of the tobacco and being able to properly put it through the bourbon barrels, it takes a minimum of 10 months. So after we barrel age the tobacco for 10 years, we bourbon barrel age the tobacco for an additional 10 months in bourbon barrels. It caramelizes the tobacco, brings out the sugars, it brings out the starch, it brings out all the carbohydrates, everything that makes the tobacco taste great. And it also helps bring the oils back up into the wrapper. So specifically for Nicaraguan shade grown. So it's something I'm real proud of. But yeah, it's very important.
I know that you guys make a lot of cigars a year, but that's a lot of steps. It's a very long time to tie up all the leaf. Like, couldn't you just do it for 3 years and pump out cigars like everybody else and like probably make just as many or more?
We could, but it wouldn't be as good. It wouldn't be as good, plain and simple. It's got my name on it, man. It's when you pick up that cigar, it's got to be 100%. And that's why we're family owned, family operated. It's Nicaraguan grown and family owned. That's how I look at this. That's how I look at our company. So I'm proud of it.
I like that a lot. I got one more question for you. Then we're going to throw up some more questions from everybody who's watching at home. And by the way, I've confirmed that Cigars Daily Plus is not functioning, and I don't know why. I just went through the whole setup. It's all correct. So the after party will only be on Rumble tonight. So we'll only be streaming the after party to the hardcore conspiracy theorists out there. So when it comes to the shade grown wrapper, did I read this as something that your dad was developing? Was your dad doing this? Because this hybrid thing, we don't grow a lot of wrapper leaf in Nicaragua, right? A lot of Nicaraguan stuff used for filler. Was your dad developing this wrapper leaf? And if he was, did you just take it to make a project for him? Like, did you just take your dad's thing he was developing and say, it's like when it's Father's Day and your son comes and gets your debit card to come buy you a gift? Like, tell me more about that.
That's pretty good. I think you kind of nailed it. Yeah. So, this is tobacco that my dad, yeah, pretty much. I was with the company just a little over a year when we started this operation. I remember going to Nicaragua and I remember seeing it in 15. I remember seeing it in 18. And then, I just remember we were doing it. And then my dad always, my dad always is big in the inventory, making sure that we're only as good as our inventory. So I remember when I started blending originally Perdomo Legacy, I was making cigars, using different tobaccos. People were pitching me different type of materials because they heard, oh, Nick's son's he's going to be making a cigar in honor of his dad. So tobacco growers were trying to give me samples to make different blends, something different. And I remember I'm going through our warehouse where we have all our inventory of well-aged tobaccos, and I see some tobacco to the side, and it's this, tobacco tapado, which is shade tobacco. And so I said, hey, what's this, to my factory manager? And he goes, this is the tobacco that we've been growing in Esteli under shade. And I go, oh, yeah, I remember this. And he goes, yeah, your dad's putting this to the side, probably do something for a 35th or 40th anniversary. And I said, oh, okay. I said, well, I'm going to play with it right now. And so that's what happened. I loved it, man. I'm moist. We got the tobacco a little bit wet. We started sorting the wrappers and sorting between wrapper and binder in the wrapper department. And I remember just looking and expanding and holding that wrapper, just seeing the texture, the thickness, the elasticity. And I said, we started making cigars, and the sweetness. There's like this natural sweetness. You got to remember, they're higher primings too.
Yeah.
They're higher primings, and they're just so thick, but they burn the combustibility. Like, it's like the perfect, and I hate to use it, and it's not to compare to anything, but it to me, it is the perfect tobacco. It is the perfect wrapper leaf. I think my dad created one of the greatest tobacco varietals that's ever existed in the history of the cigar industry, and I'm proud to say that, and I truly believe it in my heart, and I think it's one of the greatest tasting cigars and greatest tasting wrappers in the world. There's no question.
Well, you guys can learn more about these blendings, and we're going to continue this conversation on the after party on Rumble. And of course, we're talking about the 3 blends: the Ecuador Connecticut, the Shade Grown, and the Maduro of the new Perdomo Legacy. And I want to take and have Billy read for you the next comment coming right at you right now.
This is from Ben Strongy. What flavor schmears does Nicholas get on the blends?
So this is a running joke because last week Billy tried to say flavor notes by himself without training wheels, and it went completely off the sidewalk and in oncoming traffic. So
it got dirty. It got
very dirty. But what kind of flavor notes do you get from all 3 different wrappers of the Legacy?
Well, for me, I personally get a lot of, like, for example, the Connecticut, I get a lot of creaminess naturally, but I think I also get this refined flavor because, again, the binder being Nicaraguan shade grown, even for the Maduro being Nicaraguan shade. That was the coolest thing. I was glad. You always want to yield 100% wrapper, which is never realistic, but I was so proud and so grateful that I had the opportunity to incorporate Nicaraguan shade grown, what didn't make wrappers binder, because I believe it truly elevates the Connecticut and also Maduro. But the Connecticut, I get the beautiful creaminess. I get almost a silky white chocolate with like a sweet finish, which I believe comes from that binder and the shade grown. It helps complement really well with that Connecticut. The Maduro, to me, it's like a dark chocolate bomb. I get almost notes of espresso, some chocolate. I get tremendous amounts of sweetness, but like almost like a peppery finish, because I did use, I wanted to put some good Ligero from Esteli in there to elevate the blend even more too. So it's very rich. It's funny because you mentioned something. You said it earlier. I believe it was you. You said that the cigar find to be very mild. So mild, I think what you meant was, I think you find it to be very smooth.
Yes.
Because it's smoothness. Because I think sometimes we get the flavor and the strength. Sometimes they can be a little bit misunderstood to a certain point, which is fine. But I understood what you meant. It's a smooth cigar. It's very rich, which I'm proud of, because I wanted to make the most rich, finesse, heavy cigar, but the most balanced cigar possible for my dad. And then I would say, lastly, the Nicaraguan shade grown, I would say it's sweet. I would say it's got this almost sweet cinnamon molasses type of flavor. It's just, there's cinnamon, there's clove. It's almost like those baking spices with that honey and beautiful molasses type of flavor. It's just very rich, and it's got a beautiful, man, I'll keep going on. I love that.
I want to drop something on you as well, and I know everybody at home's dropping their comments and questions, and I invite all of you, continue to drop your comments and questions. Billy's going to read them. We're going to take them. This is for the Perdomo Army. This is a special time because this is your first project. You did it honoring your dad, and I think so far the reception has been what we would expect from a Perdomo drop, a new Perdomo drop. And we're, by the way, I'll tell everybody who's at home, and I'm going to say this because Ralph is sitting right there, and I know that your dad is watching and Arthur's watching. We're currently working on a set of collectible Perdomo challenge coins that are going to be working their way around. And so Ralph and I are actually working on that with the team over there. So we're going to have something very unique and very special for the Perdomo Army coming your way at some point a little bit later this year. But this, for you, Nicholas, at some point, and I don't think that it seems like it's very immediate, but at some point, like the plan is for you to sort of eventually take over the reins in Perdomo Cigars. Am I wrong about that?
Sure. No, you're not wrong at all.
And how is this does this feel natural for you? Has it been like, this is what I thought it would be? Like, what was the unexpected part of this that was harder than you thought it would be to put all this together?
I'm really grateful to God. I think the biggest thing is that my dad, without my dad being involved, my dad's always involved because everything, even indirectly within our company, because my dad created all the processes, my dad created all the procedures, and the team that we have. I felt like my dad was by my side the whole time, but never gave me any direction. But I just felt his presence there while I was working on the blends and making the brand and things like that. Having the team that we have is really, the teamwork makes the dream work. And that's really what happened with me in terms of having, developing Perdomo Legacy. I had some tough times, 2019, 2020, trying to create blends. That was probably my most difficult time, trying to find the right blend and making the perfect cigar, in my opinion, for my dad, for what this cigar was. But outside of that, man, honestly, Tim, I really had everything clicked, man. I mean, when I worked with Arthur with artwork, I mean, I can't tell you, it was like we put together everything within a day. I mean, that never happens. It takes years to create artwork, and we literally put the concept of Perdomo Legacy in one afternoon. That's something that ever happened. Probably the last time something like that will ever happen. It just, everything was. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in God instances, and I think everything works that way. And that's really what happened. Everything just came together. Whether it was the cigar, whether it was the packaging, whether it was the partners, including you, who we wanted to sell this brand to. I remember having a great conversation with you in Las Vegas. I said, "Hey Tim, I want you to have this brand. I want you to be, a huge partner for us, especially in the West Coast." And you've got one of the largest allotments. I'm proud of that in the entire country. So, it's something that, and listen, it goes both ways, man. You're a great partner. We got a lot of customers and we have very few partners, and thanks for being a great partner.
So this is something I pay close attention to, is how a cigar is presented. It matters to me a lot. And it's like, truly, at the end of the day, you take a cigars, you take the band off, and you can't really tell them apart, from brand to brand in the humidor and everything like that. Perdomo is one brand that, like, you and your dad, you guys just get it. You get it. Like, you make the cigar, the presentation comes with this pomp and circumstance and gravitas that you can't just drum up. But take a look at these legacy rings right here. You said this was done like in an afternoon.
The concept was done, but I will tell you, it wasn't like, oh, it's just so easy. But it was like one of those where, because I have my dad, you always have the angel and the devil on the shoulder. Thank God.
Yeah.
But I have my dad on this shoulder. I have Arthur Kemper on this shoulder. So that's how because that's who trained me, those two specifically. So when I operate on a daily basis, I think for myself, but I have one in this ear and one in that ear. And so it was one of those where I felt my dad, where if my dad was here, man, everything was clicking perfect, and we just pushed and we pushed and we pushed. I will tell you, when I walked out of the office that day and I went home, I felt like I had a 500-pound guy sitting on top of my chest. It took me hours to disengage, but we pushed, man. I just kept going, let's go. We're working with the graphics guy, with Arthur, myself, and we pushed, man. We got it out.
That's fantastic. All right, I want to come straight back to everybody's comments at home, and Billy, I'm gonna have you read the next one.
This is from Jimmy Adams. Are the Legacy going to be regular or limited release?
Legacy is going to be a regular item, limited to a select few accounts across the country. It's a brand so just to give you guys an idea, you, Tim, as our partner, the whole Cigars Daily team, and even our consumers who are listening, the greatest thing, again, growing up in the industry, having the tutelage that I received from my dad, from Arthur Kemper, the first thing I did when I went to Nicaragua, and I said, hey, I have this idea, I want to make a cigar. I sat with our accountant, I sat with our factory manager, Miguel Rivera, and I'll never forget, I sat with him in his office and said, Miguel, I want to look at all the inventories that we have for wrapper. I want to look at all the inventories we have for binder. I want to look at all the inventories we have for Seco, Viso, Ligero. And so everything we had, I didn't want to create some crazy blend that we only grow so much of, or it yields so little, and I can only make it for a year, because I'm just screwing you, Tim, and I'm screwing all of our consumers, because I wanted to make sure whatever I make or whatever cigar I'm making, we are growing today, that we're going to be growing that tobacco for tomorrow, and that we're going to be able to have that tobacco in inventory to continue to sell and produce. Now, I will tell you that it is a regular produced item, but I've never seen orders/reorders like I have gotten now. What I forecasted, it's over 50% higher than what I truly forecasted originally when I helped create the production schedule. Just this last week, I've gotten almost 30-40% of the customers asked to reorder their original order, not just like if it was 20 box order, for example. Hey, I'd like to order 8 or 10. They're like, give me another 20. I'm not forecasting guys are going to reorder their original order. I got 30-40% of the legacy accounts who are reordering their original big order. Like, we've never had that before, and I'm grateful and I'm honored. It's my first project. I'm totally humbled by it, and so it's one of those things where it is regular, but be patient with us because we're trying to get the product out still, and we haven't gotten the product out to 100%. We're about 90%.
Wow.
Wow. I still got about 10%.
All right, I'm going to take and read the next comment for you. Billy is going to throw it up on the screen right now. This next one has come from Dalton S. He says, wait a sec. All the cigars are bourbon barrel aged. You guys do a lot of barrel aging. For a lot of cigar makers, barrel aging seems to be more or less of a novelty. It's kind of like when you make a whiskey and you slap small batch on the label, and then it's just like everybody's like, oh, that must be a good one. But you guys take barrel aging very seriously. Your dad has done this for a long time. And by the way, there's a difference, and you'll know this, between barrel aging and barrel fermenting. So barrel aging, and where the hell do you get so many barrels?
Oh, please. I would love that.
We've been purchasing barrels for the last 2+ decades. We have between 300 to 350 barrels on possession, so I mean, it's something that we're very, we barrel aged. We've been barrel aging to the first brand that we've shown that's barrel aged tobaccos was Perdomo Habano Bourbon Barrel Aged back in 2014. The first true brand that we barrel aged tobacco was Perdomo Champagne. And we were barrel aging that tobacco since 1999, 2000, before we released in 2003, 2004, just to give you an idea. Because it's the old way. It's the way my grandfather was taught in Cuba, my great grandfather, and how they used to case tobacco. So it's basically a second fermentation process. We line the tobacco, we line everything with burlap, with visqueen, where it breathes, and so that white oak char, it acts as a filtering agent. It refines the tobacco, it removes a lot of the rough edges, it removes a lot of the ammonias and nitrates. And so it's one of those things where it brings out the sugars. It makes the tobacco just so much better. When you look at our Connecticut wrappers, they're not light egg yolk. They're not dead. They have almost like this butterscotch color, beautiful, like this creamy, darker Connecticut color, which was what we like. And that's what's beautiful. And that's what makes our tobacco so special, because there's, when we make a cigar, we make it the Perdomo way. And that's part of it. Again, my last name is all over the cigar, and that's how I was raised. That's how that's how we run this thing. It's Perdomo. So I don't want anybody to ever pick up a cigar and go, man, this Perdomo stinks. That's not, we take pride in our name and we do it the best. And so we invest the time. Yeah, we can make cigars in 3 to 4 years and come out with blends, and they'd be good, but they just wouldn't be as good.
And can I piggyback off of Tim's question real quick? And do you guys reuse the barrels? Is that correct? Do you guys have to rechar them? Is there some kind of process to keep using the barrels? Because I know that might not be the most economic thing to have to get new barrels every single batch that you have to age in.
We do, and we spray it. We spray them down with. We have drums with bourbon too. So we actually used it. We accidentally received a whole barrel that's going to last us forever because nobody's going to drink it. But we use it and we respray within the woods to help within the charred woods. So every year, so we're not getting the bourbon flavor. We're not looking for the taste of bourbon. We're looking for the alcohol within the barrel. Yeah. That's what makes it special, because there's no bourbon flavor. We don't flavor our cigars.
Yeah. Okay.
Real quick, Bulldog says, and Nick Perdomo III for president. Would you run for president?
Yes, sir.
I mean, would you be willing to help us out?
Help us out is great.
I'd rather make cigars, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Sorry, Bulldog.
You and me both, Nicholas. You and me both.
That's a job.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I mean, no one would like it if I did it. All right, let's keep cruising. Before I go down that road and derail the whole episode, Remilicious says all the blends Are all the blends the same filler with different wrappers, or were they tweaked based on which wrappers being used? Yeah, some of these guys, they roll one blend and they slap different wrappers on it. And for some blends, that seems to really work great. So what's your philosophy and how different is this? Did you break away from what your dad's traditionally done for blending? Did you come up with your own creative style here? How did it look?
So what I wanted to do is I made a more aggressive but extremely balanced cigar. My whole thing was, it's like when you adjust the radio in your car when you first get your car. How can I get the fader? How can I get the treble? How can I get the bass as high up as possible before each one drowns itself out? It's kind of the same mentality I had when I made the cigar. So I fell in love with this tobacco that we had that we've never used before from Condega. So Condega is in between Jalapa and Esteli. And Condega, to me, is basically a mix of Jalapa and Esteli. It has a lot of the sweetness that Jalapa has, but it has the power and the boldness of Esteli, which I love, man. And I found these higher priming, like higher up Visos, and I fell in love with this tobacco. So I used it for all three blends. So basically, the filler tobaccos, 50% of the blend is comprised of tobacco from Condega, with tobacco also from Esteli, being with the Ligero, and then also some tobacco from Jalapa. So this is the first time we've ever used so much tobacco from Condega, but I personally fell in love with it as part of, outside the Nicaraguan shade-grown tobacco that makes the blend so different from our other blends. That's also another thing that makes our tobacco different, especially within the filler tobaccos. But yeah, so when I made the blends, all three fillers are the same. The Connecticut and the Maduro use a Nicaraguan shade-grown binder. The Nicaraguan shade-grown uses a Nicaraguan binder, so from Jalapa.
So you kind of take these ingredients and you I mean, you're sort of same ingredients, but tweaking it to make each one
Absolutely.
what you need it to be. What you
yeah,
want.
the offsets. So basically, it's the big three. It's Jalapa, it's Condega, and Esteli. There's certain offsets, for example, that I might have just because of, I don't want to cut so much of the wrapper, the taste of the Connecticut wrapper versus the Maduro and so forth. So it's fine. At the end, it was really just fine tuning. It's kind of like, to your point, what you just said. So, but it's all the same tobacco in regards to the blend of legacy. It's the same for all three. The difference is the offset of the wrappers.
Oh,
This is a personal question that I'm super curious about.
Sure.
So working with your dad for so long, was there a breakaway from what he's done, or was his just voice in the back of your mind, do this, or is there like a tried and true blending rule your dad taught you that you're like, I make sure every time I'm sitting down blending, I make sure I do this?
Yeah, my dad always said, don't cheap out in the customer. Don't make a cigar that's too light. Make a heavy. It's better to make a heavier cigar and put the best damn tobacco in the world and use higher primings. But the one thing I did think about, and when I was a kid, my dad was known for being the aggressive guy in the industry. My dad was the young guy. My dad made very aggressive cigars, especially in the 90s and early 2000s.
He's kind of still that guy.
What's that?
He's kind of still that guy.
He is that
Good
guy.
guy.
But in his time, he made cigars that were out of this world, that were totally different. Nicaraguan fillers, Connecticut wrapper. We were the first company to ever make a Connecticut wrap cigar with Nicaraguan fillers. People were making fun of my dad at Perdomo Champagne. Ha ha! Who's laughing now, right? So that was the first
Scoreboard.
one to do it. Thank you. And so my dad was really the first one to do it. And so it was one of those things where, I kind of wanted to pay homage to him in regards to, I wanted to make the most aggressive, most full-bodied cigar, but the most balanced cigar where you could smoke that cigar and you can go, you know what, I loved it. It was rich. It was like a German chocolate cake. It was so rich. I want another one. That's what I want. So I didn't want to be like a chili pepper where it burns and you love chilies, but I can only have one. No, this cigar it's rich, it's sweet, it's everything. It's balanced, it's aggressive, it's full. But that's really what my mindset was. And I thought of my dad in his earlier days, and I said, man, I want to make a knockout cigar like how he was known for and how he is known for. So that was my goal.
I love it. Billy, throw a comment at us. Give us the people.
We got some complaints coming in.
Complaints?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
People be bitching? Christopher Harper says, Ralph Valdez, why are you so quiet back
So
there?
we got some questions for Ralph.
All right, we're
coming.
gonna ask
Okay.
questions directly to Ralph right now.
Chris, don't put your
You
boss
can
on. Don't be putting your boss on the TV screen, man. What's up with that?
Just so you know, Ralph can now say about Chris whatever he wants live on the internet. So, Chris Grimm,
I'll keep it nice.
good. Ralph, how was your experience in the blending process of the Legacy? Did you feel a lot of pressure?
I'll tell you, I've been alongside Nicholas for this whole process, and it's been a lengthy one. But because of how special this blend is and what it means to him, being his first blend that he makes and dedicates to Nick, his dad, he wanted to make sure that he checked off all the boxes and make sure that everything was tip top and no corners were cut. And by far, I told him this before in private, and I'll tell him this again now in public. He's did a hell of a job, and I'm very proud of everything that he did because he did it the right way.
Thank you,
start to
brother.
finish.
Thank you.
Start to finish.
Thank you.
Dude, Nicholas, do you feel like the kid coming up? Do you feel like you've arrived, or do you still feel like everybody's like, "Good job, sport"? Like
imposter syndrome.
yeah,
I'm
like, hey,
I'm happy, but I'm never satisfied. So I'm always
yeah, that's what's up, dude.
Yeah, I'm happy. Trust me, I'm grateful. I count my blessings, and I thank God for them all. But I'm also not satisfied either because I grew up in a household with the DNA. You know, my dad being the bulldog and the guy who said, "Hey, man, you if you score 20 points next game, you got to score 25 points. Then you got to score 30, and you got to keep just shooting more back and scoring." So that's just the DNA that I grew up with, and that's instilled within me. So I'm grateful, happy, but I'm never satisfied.
Next comment's coming your way right now from our viewers at home. This one is from.
What's
I
that?
really tried to vamp on that, Billy. I was trying to give you some time. Grimm says, when will for the love of God, when will AI get introduced into the business? Super leaves and art. Yeah, I mean, so listen, we can talk about this very briefly. I'll say this. The premium cigar industry has been traditionally super duper slow to adopt new things. We don't like the new things. We're not like, just to give you guys an idea, barcodes on cigars are still a relatively new thing to the premium cigar industry, and that now like 85 or 90% of people use them. Yeah. So that's really over the last 10 years we've done this. And AI, do you use AI at all anywhere, Nick? I mean,
no, I mean, honestly, I mean, I've played with it. I respect it. You know, I'm scared to feed it information, to be honest with you, because where the heck does it go, right? So
where does it go?
Yeah.
Cigar Yams says, keep AI out. Cigars are humans only.
Okay.
It's a weird prejudice to have. Okay.
Here comes Perdomo's first AI cigar, only for robots.
I mean, there's parts of the world where everything's going to change the next 2 or 3 years, and AI is going to be absolutely everywhere. And I think that this industry is going to be a reprieve from that. It's going to be a tangible, like, art that sustains its integrity, and you're going to be looking for guys like this over the next 15, 20 years to be producing that in a world where everything is now fake. Like, that's the reality of AI. Like, none of it's real. The images you watch, the new videos that come out, there's not actually a Sasquatch running around doing cocaine in people's tents in the woods.
What?
Which I know. Billy and I send each other these videos all day long. But no, the premium cigar world, at very least what you're doing here, Nick, what you've done with the Legacy is all natural, down to earth, very real art that, by the way, is a hell of an undertaking of agricultural science, especially with that shade grown wrapper in there. I want to keep it coming with comments from everybody at home. Billy, give us another one. Give me about anything AI.
The Thick Wick says,
does the factory in Nicaragua do tours? I want to plan a vacation there next year. And
likewise,
Nick, before I hand it over to you, I'll just up front, a spoiler. Yes, they do. And Nick's dad has invited me to go down there.
Us?
Us. Well, I mean, he invited, Terrence was there when he invited me to go.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So technically, Terrence got an invitation. But You guys do like the factory tour of all factory tours. Go ahead. This is it. This is the invitation for the pitch.
Yes, I mean, we're very grateful. I mean, we're looking at next year. We're looking to do factory tours possibly. We're not 100% sure about next year, to be quite honest with you, because we're in the process of a major expansion. Perdomo Legacy is a big reason why. We're going to be expanding our shade grown operation. We're going to be expanding some things in our facilities in Esteli, and we have a lot to show, possibly not for next year, but maybe for 2027. So there's a chance, depending, we might be taking some time off in 2026. My dad's been doing it for 14, 15 straight years. Arthur Kemper's the same. But really the big thing is that we're going through a major expansion process, which we have new multiple farms as well. And we want to incorporate some new stuff too. But as we continue to expand, we want to be able to make sure that we do it 100% right too. So the factory tour for 2026 isn't too clear right now. So we might be holding off for 2027.
That's a colossal deal. Expansion. I mean,
Mhm.
for everybody who's watching at home, when you talk about what he's talking about right now, expansion, you're talking about expanding your growing operation, potentially expanding the factory, making the factory bigger. That is like, I don't even know what to compare it to, because when they say it takes 300 sets of hands to roll one cigar, you're talking about expanding every part of the job that does that, from the growing to the picking to the curing to the fermenting and the polones to the sorting that happens several times, the bale aging. And for you guys, apparently somewhere there's a warehouse filled with Buffalo Trace bourbon barrels that also have leaf in them. So it's like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and I really don't feel like having factory tour guests with hard hats walking through our facilities either.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things too. So, but yeah, we're in a major expansion. The company's growing tremendously. I'm proud. I think it has to do with us again being family owned, and we're growing a lot. And I really have to thank our other retail partners, our loyal, faithful consumers. So 2027 is going to be huge. I mean, 2026 is going to be big, but 2027 factory tour is going to be big.
All right, I got another cigar content creator on here who's going to drop a question at you, and I want to make sure to bring this guy up. Hugo Smokes is on. He's got a great channel. Nick Jr., would you create a Lancero or a Corona Vitola when you take over? So after you defeat your father in Mortal Kombat and you're officially sitting on the throne of Perdomo, you're sitting at your dad's drum set.
Wait. Don't they already make a Corona Gorda and a good amount of the blends though?
Yeah.
Yeah, you started something.
I mean, but a Lancero would be fire. I'm not gonna lie.
It wouldn't.
Yeah,
Let's let him talk, but no,
okay.
it wouldn't.
Okay, so I make two types. So I make three types of. So we make a Petit Corona 4.5 by 44 in our Perdomo Reserve Limited Cameroon Edition, which is one of the greatest secrets in the history of Perdomo Cigars. It's one of the greatest wrapper tobaccos, greatest cigars. The other brand, Perdomo 10th Anniversary Champagne, we make the 5 5/8 by 46 Corona Extra. And then on our 20th anniversary, we make a beautiful 6.5 by 48 Corona Grande. So those are the three Corona sizes. Now, to go to the Lancero, which is always a question that I get, I will never make a Lancero. It's no, and then you got to put an F in front of the no for two reasons.
Yes!
There's two reasons. Number one, Lancero.
Hold on, stop.
Lancero is named after Fidel Castro, which is never going to happen. That's the first thing. It was named after him. Lancero.
Wait. I'm sorry. Please repeat that. Why no Lanceros?
There's two reasons. Because it was the cigar Fidel Castro smoked, and I hate Fidel Castro. May burn in hell. And the second thing is that because it's so thin, and I'm not gonna. If you like little Lanceros, no problem. That's all right. You just go get it.
He's not pointing at me.
So, you can try a Virginia Slim. So anyway, the Lancero, I can't get ligero in it. So basically, it's a cigar because it's so thin. I can't put the salt, the pepper, the garlic powder. I got to cut something out because if I put all three, because of the rain gauge being so small, and because we grow tobacco in Nicaragua, which is extremely thicker type of tobacco, what'll happen is that when I make the cigar, it ain't gonna draw. So, and then I got to take out some ligero, and I'm cheating you. And then, you're not going to get the same flavor. You're not going to get the same taste that you would get out of even a 42, 44, 46 and up. I'll give you that one. I'll totally give you That's fine. But 38, 34, 36, come on, man. Just go get some Virginia Slims.
All right, I'll just stick to the Churchills then, Nicholas.
That's right. Because you know what? I don't cheat. I don't
This is the
cheat.
best episode we've ever done. All right.
Great.
Uh,
I feel like I'm with family, so.
Terrence is
Can I get
double
Ralph
flipping
out
me
there?
off right now. Hey, listen, this is what we're going to do right now. We're going to continue this episode, but in order to do it, we're going to go to Rumble. This episode's going to continue, but only on Rumble for the after party. You guys did you just thumbs up? Did it do
That
a
was
thumbs up
really
when you
cool.
did that? Dude, what was that? What
I
in the
don't know. I
world? All
wanna do
right.
it again.
Floating thumb that came out from the side.
I don't know. All right, listen. Well, this is what happens when you introduce AI into the cigar world, bro. It's like monkeys. We're like, what the hell just happened here?
I don't know, man.
All right, we're going to continue the show on the after party on Rumble. And afterwards, I will upload it to Cigars Daily Plus so that it can be watched there. But you can learn more about the legacy, the 3 blends of the legacy here. Learn more about those and continue asking your questions directly to Nick. And Ralph is here too, by the way. So you can ask your questions to him on Rumble. We'll put him up on the screen. Otherwise, stay tuned for another great episode next week. And we'll see you all on the after party.
And live your lives.
Yes.